Hey, tourpreneurs, it's Mitch Bach, and just a quick note before we begin today's episode. Tourpreneur is currently sponsored by Google. We're thankful for their support of our community, and we are offering with them a completely free course helping you unlock the power and potential of Google's Things to Do program, which is specifically helping tour operators add their tours to Google in new ways that gives you new exposure and more direct bookings. To learn more, go to tourpreneur.com/Google. And as always, show notes, more resources, links to our newsletter, our business coaching community, and so much more are available on tourpreneur.com. Now to the episode.
Today's episode is brought to you by Checkfront, the booking platform trusted by over 5,000 tour and activity operators around the world. You can start your own free 21-day trial over at checkfront.com.
Welcome to the Tourpreneur Podcast. Travel industry veteran Shane Whaley will take you on a journey with fellow tourpreneurs, sharing their tips, ideas, insights, and success stories to inspire you to make your tour business the best it can be. And now, please welcome your host, Shane.
And welcome to Tourpreneur at Arrival, presented by Checkfront. We are joined today by Ellen Monat of which tour company?
Breakers Boat Trips, Punta, Cana.
Fantastic. So when did you guys start out?
So we started out 5 years ago in Punta Cana, and we moved actually to Punta Cana 5 years ago. So at the same time, we started our business there.
Fantastic. And tell us a bit more about your tour, what you guys do, what activities you have.
So we offer eco-friendly boat tours. Mm-hmm. So that includes snorkeling, inshore fishing, but also really get to know with the species on the water. So we have a guide on board that guides our guests for 1 hour and really learn about the underwater world, about the species, but also about the coral, the water, how to keep them safe, what kind of products you use when you snorkel in the Caribbean. So think about sunscreen, try to not to get any plastic on board. So yes. Yeah, it's like educational, but a lot of fun as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you started out in Punta Cana, I imagine there was a lot of competition, right?
Yes. Well, actually, I think as a lot of entrepreneurs, we really didn't think it truly, and we didn't really think about all the competition.
Your honesty.
Yes, I'm going to be very honest. So we were a little bit blank, a little bit naive, and further out the process, we figured out how the business really worked, and then of course all the struggles started to occur.
How did you know there'd be a demand for the eco side? So sustainability today is something that's very popular and we talk about, but
Exactly.
5 years ago wasn't talked about as much as it is today.
No, that is true. So why we started the business actually, because we moved there. We came from corporate business, myself, my husband and myself, for almost 20 years. And we wanted something different. So we sold our business and went to Punta Cana. I think this is a common story of a lot of expats going to a different country and then starting something totally different, what they have not a lot of clue about. But we were always passionate about the nature, our ecosystem. So that's something that we really wanted to add in our tours and in anything else that we wanted to do, to add more value in the business and the branch that we are going to work in.
Where did you move from?
We moved from Holland.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I feel like I could detect the Dutch accent there.
Really?
Which part of Holland were you in?
I was born in Amsterdam, but we live in Bergen, and that's like a small city near to the cheese city, what's called Alkmaar.
Yeah.
And great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge for your business that you've had to overcome?
The biggest challenge definitely is our mindset. So we have a Western European mindset, and then working in the Caribbean with a different mentality, I think that's our biggest struggle into now. And we are adjusting very well, I can say. So, growing into the business and being a few years apart. But that was definitely, the biggest struggle. Just the communication with your employees or with the government or, that kind of things.
So what advice would you give to, there may be other tourpreneurs listening to the show who've just moved to a new destination and there are cultural differences. Yeah. What would be your top tip for someone who's dealing with that today?
Well, that's a very good question because if you hear my story, I think you will think that I will say, how do you say it? So be more educated about what you're going to do, learn more about the country, about the brands that you're going to work with. But also on the same time, if you do that, then maybe sometimes it will scare you and you won't do it at all. So I get asked that question many times, like, why did you do it? And even after all these struggles, you are still passionate about what you're doing. I say, yeah, maybe that's the thing that you follow your passion more than all the facts and all the things. And along the way, you will learn if you are passionate enough in what you're doing, and all the problems will solve.
Absolutely.
By itself.
Take a day off from answering emails, telling your team what to get ready, or manually entering info across sales channels. Actually, take many, because Checkfront will help manage your bookings. Guests book and pay however they want. Your team has the tools they need to operate smoothly, and your calendar always stays up to date. Now, what will you do with all that extra time? Checkfront. One booking platform, limitless possibilities. Find out more at checkfront.com.
So what does your distribution mix look like right now? So what channels are you using to sell your tours?
We work with OTAs, but we also work with, I call them land travel agencies. So big travel agencies that they have their office on our destination. So think about TUI, Amstar, but also with hotels. We have some spots in different kind of resorts and hotels as well. And we have our own online vendors, and we have our own website as well.
Sure. Yeah. And how much of your business would you say comes from OTAs?
Let's say 25 until 30%. Okay.
Yeah. And is there one OTA in particular that's very strong for you?
Well, actually, that is one of the newest one. It's not so popular yet, and they are Bookit.
Okay.
So, and we receive a lot of clients from Bookit.
Bookit?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. What about the online booking platform? Who do you use for your technology?
So actually, that's why this is the first time attending to Arrival, and we came here actually with this specified of goal to find a
good for you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we had a great chat with Peak, with Harbor as well. But we find we love to work with Peak. So yeah.
What was it about Peak? So you've come here.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's lots of the res tech companies. So what is it about Peak that you guys like?
Clearly the combination and how they explain things, that it's so clear and it just fits our business model and our company, and also like our team and everything, that what we stand for and who we are. So yeah.
Great.
I think
you mentioned that you had some deals with or relationships with hotels that are selling your product.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people who listen to Tourpreneur who are struggling to forge relationships with hotels.
Yeah.
What would be your top tip for our listeners who want to sell through hotels?
So the thing is that we have quite a few deals with hotels.
Yes.
And it's quite difficult because they also charge I think they charge even more than OTAs or our land tour operators, because some might ask 50% commission. So that's huge. But as a beginner...
Huge, that's robbery.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I come from.
That is like even worse than
mugging
taxes.
You.
Exactly. No, that is. But for a starting operator, it could be helpful sometimes just to have your brand out there. So you have to give a little to get a little back. So it depends. And when you are a little bit further, then you can always skip them or, do something else. But for a starter operator, I will definitely advise to put your network as broad as possible to make sure that your brand is known and,
absolutely,
business is known as well.
So how are you using social media to promote your tours?
Oh, that is a love-hate relationship, because social media is a thing that everybody's telling you that you need it, but it doesn't really work for us yet. But that's good of coming to Arrival as well, because we met a few companies here that fit our brand as well, and we are excited to work with them as well. But we tried a few companies before and it didn't work at all. Why? I think the main thing is the most companies that offer social media are not from the tourism business.
Yes.
So it's so difficult to add a value to a company if you don't have any knowledge about that. And that's also something that we learn out, through the process.
Please do me a favor. If you work with an agency and they do a really good job for you, please email us and let us know, because it's a big headache.
Yeah, it is.
It's a minefield out there, because there's so many people who say they are experts, but they don't speak our language of tours and activities.
Exactly.
So I want to provide a directory on tourpreneur.com where you could go to and say, oh, those two tour operators recommend Jane Smith Agency. So do let us know.
I will for sure, yeah.
What's the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you when it comes to running your own business?
To talk about entrepreneurs doing the same business in the same business lane as what you are. And I think that's so important because most of the times a lot of companies see each other as competition. And they were like, oh, I'm not talking to you because you are doing the same and you are my competition. But I think people need to get over that and, create a big hub and create a nice social network for everybody in the business, because that's also the only way to keep this great business going and to make sure that we are providing the best as possible, service that we can for all our travelers.
Absolutely. So my final question, it's your first arrival. We got another day to go tomorrow, haven't we? Or half a day. What's been your biggest learning since you've been here?
Oh, wow. I have to say a lot. I cannot even. It's been so refreshing coming to this event. And before we visited a lot of events, and all the events, it was like, we went, you did a few things, and then at the end of the day, or after the end of a few days, you were like, it was not really what we expected. But with arrival from day one, it was exactly what we expected. And it's so intimate and so one-on-one, and everybody here is so open about sharing the good and the bad.
Yes.
And I think that it's so important for any operating company to have that kind of networking platform. And so, I'm very grateful for Arrival.
Fantastic. Can you share with our listeners where they can find your tours online?
Yes, they can find us at www.boottripspuntacana.com. So whenever in Punta Cana, please visit us for a fine and very nice boat tour.
Dank u wel.
Okay, alsjeblieft. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Tourpreneur podcast. Be sure to visit tourpreneur.com to join the conversation and access the show notes, including links to the resources mentioned on today's episode. This is Tourpreneur.